Mazzaroth Decoded 21. Welcome back, family. It's May the 12th, 2025. Let's dig into the signs in sun, moon, and stars. Let's do this. Okay, we're taking a step back. We're going to catch up on where we left off. If you remember, we were looking at Comet Swan making an alignment on the 18th with Andromeda. I have it pulled back one day. We're looking at the sun aligning with the northern fish, pointing directly to Andromeda. And the following day, we see the alignment with Comet C2025 F2 Swan. This is Comet Swan marking Andromeda. It's also marking Andromeda in the exact location where the northern fish is pointing. And that's very, very important when we're looking at all of these signs. What we're going to do is we're just going to go forward and we're going to watch how this comet marks triangulum. And then it moves into the house of Taurus. And it marks the Pleiades. It marks the Hyades. And this is a very important spot right here. Let's look closer. You can see that Comet Swan is literally within uh, the inner core of Theta Tauri. And you can see there that Theta Tauri is actually a double star. And this is passing directly through that part of the Hyades. Now you'll look around and you see all of these clustered stars, and that is the grouping of what they call the Hyades. You have the Pleiades here, and then you have the Hyades here. And it's associated with Aldebaran and the Zeta Tauri horn. And I wanted to do some research on this area. And so quickly, while we're right here going through this section, I'm going to read this really quick for you, and then we'll get back to this study. We'll be looking at Orion. But for right now, let's look at the Taurus. This is pillarofenoch.com. And what we're looking at is Taurus the bull. This raging or excited red bull charging forward with its two horns lowered in self-defense is a dual sign that signifies the great material blessing, power, and forgiveness given to those who love Christ, as well as Christ coming in judgment against those who hate him and despise his blessings. The two opposing groups are depicted by Taurus' two horns, and the two star clusters that are a part of its body. Both of these groups of people profess to be loved by God, but have little else in common. The Pleiades are connected to Taurus' left or wayward horn, while the Hyades are connected to its right or righteous horn. The symbol of the unicorn represents the righteous horn of Taurus. In addition, Perseus is Revelation's rider on a red horse, the bringer of war and judgment that is depicted by Taurus. finally, along with Aries, Taurus forms a heavenly four-horned altar, with the bull being a symbol of the bulls sacrificed outside the camp as sin offerings in ancient Israel, just as Christ was sacrificed as a sin offering outside of Jerusalem's walls. And you can look at Exodus 29, 36, 37, Leviticus 4, 4 through 12, Deuteronomy 33, 17, Matthew 27, 33 through 37, and Revelation 6, 4. And if we look here, we can see that Comet Swan is actually aligned with that right horn. And we can see how Jupiter, the king, is literally sitting between the horns. And it's important to note that uh, you have a couple other signs within the constellation. Number one, we have Iris, that's just over Uranus. And again, Iris is the eye of God. So we have literally the king, the eye of God, and then we're looking at uh, as Comet Swan moves out and moves into Orion, the sun literally moves into Taurus. And then you also have Uranus, which is considered heaven. And this is all playing out uh, here on May the 7th. Let's look at this date. So we have May the 7th, and it's aligned here with the right horn in the Hyades. And then we just keep moving forward. And then we're looking at today. And let's go ahead and back up our time. And you can literally see how this is just after midnight, family. It's literally seconds after midnight. Here we go. We're looking at 6 minutes after midnight. We have Comet Swan aligning here with the lioness and what they consider the shield of Orion. In the ancient times, this constellation was shown with the shield and a sword. What we see in the image today is a lioness and a club, and Orion is the hunter, and this is his prize is the lioness. And as I said, it used to be a shield and a sword. And so Comet Swan would have been lined up with the shield today. And this is a very important sign. Again, remember, it came from Andromeda. Before that, it was in um, Pegasus as a sign of flight, and then it went through Andromeda again, right through the section where the northern fish is pointed. It went through Triangulum, and then it entered into Taurus, marking the Pleiades and the Hyades. And then now we're looking at it, making its alignment here today with the constellation of Orion. So let's get back to over here, and we're going to go to the deacons of Taurus, and I'll have this marked. Orion, I posted this in the community also. Orion, the hunter or brilliant, envisioned as a mighty man striding forward with his sword raised in battle. This large, bright constellation that looks like an hourglass or wine cup is very easy to spot in the sky for a reason. It is one of the most important constellations in the star gospel, with many layers of meaning and startling end times applications. Besides signifying the patriarch Joseph as a prince of Egypt, Orion symbolizes Christ's wine cup at the Last Supper and also memorializes his sacrificial death on the cross. In fact, Orion can be seen as a heavenly ark of the new covenant, sealed with Christ's blood and housed near the heavenly altar and temple formed by Taurus and Aries. As such, Orion signifies Yeshua's triumph over death and the devil. It also marks his return as a resurrected conquering prince, wielding his double-edged sword while crushing the serpent's head and trampling Satan's followers under his feet. This sign's meaning is also tied directly to Mount Zion and the Great Pyramid Complex in Egypt, which signifies Orion's belt stars, and the altar of Isaiah 19. Genesis 3:15, 49:26, Isaiah 19:19, Matthew 26:27 through 28, 1 Corinthians 15:25 through 28, and Revelation 11:19. Okay, so we can see that this ancient depiction of the battle in the heavens, it was seen as Taurus was the rushing bull, headed in the direction of Orion, and Orion was there to block the rushing bull, and that's why he had the sword and the shield. And the shield was to protect Orion from the bull. And now we have a lioness, and that can be seen in multiple ways. We can use that as a marker because it's a lioness, and this is a feminine depiction of the capture or the prize of Orion. And to me, when I first started doing research on the lioness, it made me think that it was like Orion catching his bride because it's a lioness. And the more research that I've done, the more I believe that that is part of this imagery is we're also looking at a marriage sign that Orion, the great hunter in the heavens, is protecting not only uh, the family but his bride, and we can see this depiction by the way that this comet moved through the heavens, because it's telling us a story. When we were looking last, it was in Pegasus, and then it moved through Andromeda, and this is all our constellations that are talking about that. If you do your research on Perseus, Andromeda, and Pegasus, you'll realize that there is an amazing story being played out here in heaven about the bride. And that continues to play out with the Pleiades and Hyades because this is the bridal chamber, and these are the called out brides. So these were all called out, but this was supposed to be the bridal chamber, and it's a way they've gone uh, in the wrong direction. And we have the right horn of the Hyades, which is the called out bride. And that is connected with this right horn. And it's all pointed to this alignment with the silver gate, which Jupiter is literally sitting in at this time. And so it's important for us to let's go look at the codes for Comet Swan. This is Comet codes for Comet Swan. It equals decode Lord Yeshua Christ, midnight hour, K God JC, Immaculate Bride of God, JC. Another name for Mary Magdalene, 10th of Tevet. Apocalypse, April 8th. Now, we all know April 8th last year was the date that we had the beginning of the signs for the 6 months of myrrh and the 6 months of sweet perfumes. It's all tied to April 8th. April 8th is also tied to our uh, Great American Eclipse. And so we can go back and we can look at all the things that were posted by all the watchmen about that American eclipse and how it was considered the Nineveh eclipse. This is a sign of Jonah. And so we're looking at salvation, Hyperborea, Pentecost, finding hidden knowledge, the Magus, bring on the thunder. That to me is the king. The Magus is the king, and that is Jupiter. And Jupiter is about to transition into the Silver Gate. And we have Heaven's anointed plan, abomination, the Ashkenazis, Antichrist, Zeus is Marduk, the end, Bible code, I am the Bible code, and war is coming. So we have some very specific language that's associated with this comet Swan, and I wanted to make sure we understood that this was very, very important language pointed here at the constellation of Orion. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a step across the Mazzaroth, and we're going to be looking here directly across because we're here on Meridian, and we can see on the opposite side of the Mazzaroth, we have the moon about to enter into the altar. And let's go ahead and get into the moon, and we can see at the time that um, Comet Swan makes its alignment, this is the exact time, we have 100% phase. So the moon is 100% in its phase. And I noticed a couple very important things. We have Dembowska that is inside of the altar. And we have a very important, another very, very important asteroid sitting in the constellation. Also, we have Metis. And if you've been with me for a while, you know how important that is. Metis equals the wedding. And so we're looking at Dembowska and the bride in the altar with Metis, which is wedding. And we still have Vesta, which is the virgins, sitting at the foot of the virgin. This is very, very important because we're looking at a bunch of bridal signs. And we're looking at this aligning at exactly the same time as Comet Swan, and it was all just too much. I had to post on this. I don't have any of my paperwork. I've been had to pack up a bunch of my stuff, and it's sort of all over the place right now. I have all of my decode. Um, I went through and posted as many of the alignments that I could find for May and June, and I have to go find all that paperwork, and I have not been able to find it yet. I put it somewhere to protect it, and I have to go through my storage and through my car and figure out exactly where I put that. It's not with my computer or my backpack. And so I have some more work to do to get the rest of the details out. I wanted to bring this forward because this is a very important sign. And I wanted to get back on track and bring all this information out for the body of Messiah. We're looking at the moon today being in 100% phase, entering the altar of Libra at the same time that Comet Swan is lined up with the shield. And again, this it's the lioness, which is a can be looked at as a bridal sign. He's captured his lioness, and Christ is looked at as the lion of the tribe of Judah. And we're looking at the moon. Let's go ahead and just watch the moon transition into the altar. And we can get our timing. So we're looking at 5 a.m. this morning, which just passed. Let's go ahead and watch this transition out. So the moon starts to transition out approximately 10 a.m. And so as I'm making this video, the full moon is inside of the inner altar, and it is aligned with Dembowska. And we also know that Metis is inside of the altar. Now, we don't have an alignment by either of these asteroids, so I don't have the codes pulled up, but they are inside of the altar with the moon as it transitions through. And again, family, this is happening while Comet Swan on the exact opposite side of Mazzaroth is aligning with the shield of Orion. So thanks for coming, fam. This is a short one. Again, I don't have all of my stuff out, so I'm gonna have to get back on track, and at least we're safe. We're dry. It's raining like crazy down here on the Oregon coast, and I'm staying with a friend while it's raining. I've got my camp set up back on the river, but I don't like to be out in the storms, uh, in the middle of nowhere with wind and storms because where I'm camped, I've been stuck out there 3 days in a row because of uh, trees down over the road, etc., from the storms. So I'm here with a friend and I'm able to take the time to do this. So I wanted to bring this for the body of Messiah. Thanks for coming, and we will be back very, very soon. Um, this is Mazzaroth Decoded 21. Much love.